Hello and welcome to the Collaboration Conversation, a listener-supported video podcast where Christian artists, entrepreneurs, and friends can share about their upcoming projects and how they are using the gifts and talents that God has given them. This podcast is only made possible through generous listeners and friends like you, and we are so very grateful to our supporters. If you would like to sponsor an episode, head over to thecollaborationconversation.org and click Sponsor an Episode. Likewise, if you want to check out or support our nonprofit ministry Project Brickworks, head over to projectbrickworks.org. Today, our special guest is Hazel Adekunle. Hazel is the data and logistics coordinator and creative project manager and building designer at Living Word Family Church in Wake Forest, North Carolina. Hazel and I go way back. We have been working together for quite a few years now. In addition, she is on our board of directors.
Yes, she is.
We love her very, very much, and we are so excited to chat with her today. Hazel, thank you so much for being here, and welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
How are you today?
Doing good. The weather is beautiful in North Carolina. It's that time of year where it's winter in the morning and summer during the day.
Yes.
So it's a fun time to get stuff done.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I actually got to go outside today a little bit and I was like, sunlight. And
yes.
Anyway,
it's a beautiful
amazing.
day.
I love the sun. I actually just bought a hammock for my backyard so I can lay in the sun during the winter.
Yes.
Oh,
go
that sounds
you.
awesome.
It's the key to my happiness. 15 minutes a day in the hammock and the stress just goes away.
I'm going to hop on that key.
Yes,
I need
you
that.
are.
I need it.
That's a
it.
great
Recommend it.
idea.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool. So it's lovely to see your face. I haven't seen you probably since the last board meeting, I guess.
Yeah,
but
it's been a while.
tell us and our listeners a little bit about you and your family.
So my husband and I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. We have one 5-year-old, Benjamin, who is our greatest teacher right now. Parenting has been so fun and such a learning experience, but we are enjoying it. He's a whole person, even though he's only 5. He's got real personality. So we love it. And David's in the military. I work at Living Word Family Church, and we've made our home here. So we really love it.
That's amazing. Tell me about Benjamin. Is he more like either one of you, or is he just it's his own third person?
Benjamin is like his dad in so many ways. It's funny because he started displaying personality like from 6 months old. I could see David in him. It's so funny. And he's grown to be even more like David. He spends a lot of time with me and I'm in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And he looks like David, talks like him, certain ways, he laughs and he moves. He is so much like David.
I love that. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
And I know that I recognize this room because of Zoom meetings for work, but you're in a different spot. And then you told us that this is a special room for you. Tell us about your room that you're in.
This is my creativity space. We lived in an apartment for a long time. And so I didn't have a dedicated space for creativity. So I always had to pack up every evening. And the one thing on my wish list, house hunters, I had to have a creating space. So this is my room. My office is in here. My crafting stuff is over there. My sewing section is over there. In my closet, I store other hobbies. And this is where I come to create. It's mine. I don't have to clean up. Nobody else comes in here. It's all my taste and my style. And so I can think and breathe in here.
Oh, I love that for you.
I'm kind of jealous.
I was about to say, everybody needs that. If you can have it, everybody needs
yeah.
it. Everybody needs their creative space and their hammock. Those, I'm sure we'll have a list by the end of this, but those are the two things so far.
Yeah. Well, so jump back a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
So I was born in Trinidad and Tobago. That's where I hail from. I spent most of my life there. I came here for college. My sister and I came at the same time. I never wanted to leave Trinidad. Interesting story. I intended to live there forever and never leave. But my sister wanted to study here. And my mom thought we should come together, having no idea of how big the U.S. is. So Trinidad is an island. It's small. Cover to cover, it's not that far. And so we came here thinking we would see each other because we were both in South Carolina. I went to Clemson and she went to Claflin, which is near Orangeburg. And wouldn't you believe it? We came here for school and the only time we saw each other was Christmas break when we both went home for Christmas. We never saw each other.
How come you didn't go to the same school?
Of how far that was.
Oh. Yeah. How far was it, approximately?
It was was like 3.5 hours.
That's a long drive.
It is, especially from Trinidad, because about 3.5 hours, you could be about anywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so funny. Why did you not go to the same colleges?
We got into different programs. So I wanted to study city planning, and my sister was studying, I think she was doing biotechnology at the time.
Okay.
She has, of course, since morphed into public health, but that's where her journey started. And so we're like, okay, these schools are close to each other in the map. We should get to see each other.
Oh my gosh,
and we came here,
funny.
and it was so funny. We saw each other in Trinidad. So that's been a running joke. That's actually where we see each other a lot, is when we go home.
Yep.
We don't actually see each other a lot here.
That's crazy. Oh, so does she still live in North Carolina?
She does not. So she has moved to Europe.
Oh,
and so now we really see each other.
You really only see each other
yeah.
in Trinidad.
That's
so funny. Well, where did you meet your husband?
We met at Clemson.
Okay.
So I was doing my graduate degree at Clemson, and David was doing his undergrad. And it's interesting. So Clemson has a very small international population. And so we met at an Easter dinner for the African and Caribbean Students Association. There are so few students from each region that they merged and formed one student organization.
Yeah.
And so that's where we met, at an Easter function. We hit it off. We were friends first. We didn't start dating right away. One function led to another function, and here we are.
And here we are. Oh my gosh, I love that.
He's from Clemson.
Well,
that's so sweet.
We're big Clemson fans, not big Clemson fans. We're medium Clemson fans because you guys have done so well in football the last few years.
Oh, we are diehard Clemson fans around here.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
We're diehard LSU fans, but that's, I was going to say, when you said that, I was like,
well, your running back for the last few years, ATN.
Mm-hmm.
He's from my husband's home high school.
Yes. So we do follow him.
We follow because of that. Now that he's gone, we probably won't follow Clemson anymore. Sorry. but because of that, with him being there, we were fans.
Very cool. Yeah. We loved, we have so many memories in Clemson. We lived there for a long time after we both graduated.
Okay.
And so we made friends in our graduating year, but also several, years after that, of other students who came through the African and Caribbean Students Association. So we have a lot of roots there. And because of those associations, we have friends literally from all over.
That's amazing.
So that's kind of cool too.
Oh, very
cool.
That
is very cool.
Well, now I'm going to jump back to your room where you're sitting now.
Yes.
You enjoy drawing and painting
and sewing.
Talk about that creative side of you.
I love creating. And there are very different mediums that I like. My all-time favorite is interior design. I love it. I love color and composition and that kind of stuff. But I have so many creative outlets because I also have a love of learning. So I started off doing crafting and sewing. I eventually took up drawing and painting. Now I'm dabbling in woodworking.
Oh my gosh, that's so impressive.
Oh, I love that.
Like, if it's out there and it's a way to create something, I want to know how to do it. So YouTube University has been great because last year when we were home so much, I used some of that time to pick up some new skills. My journey with creativity is kind of intertwined with my education. I always loved creating things, but it was a hobby. I never went to school formally for it. But then I had the opportunity to do a graphics design segment at school, and that really sparked something. I was like, oh, I can do this professionally. And so when I left home, I came here to do city and regional planning. And in the same building at school, literally, this is how I met landscape architecture, which is what one of my degrees is in. I would see the students doing their presentations in the hallway, and I was like, oh my God, I need to do that. That is not what I came for, but I
love that.
So I finished that program and I jumped straight into landscape architecture. I fell in love with it, and I loved it was interdisciplinary. So it covers a lot of things. We did drawing, we did modeling, we did everything.
Oh my gosh.
Just for like creating spaces. And so I got to have my hands in all of that. So I can draw like landscapes and rooms and layouts, floor plans and that kind of stuff. I used to do landscape painting, which I haven't done in a long time. These days, I'm working more on accent walls because I'm doing a lot more interior design right now and also seasonal stuff. Christmas is my season. So
Your season is coming.
That's right. It is coming. So I get rented out to do, designs for this, that, backdrops, accent walls, Christmas trees, things like that. So I like to dabble so much in all the different creative spots.
I love that. Well, okay. So tell me about, from the interior design perspective, I know that you pretty much just completely redesigned Living Word's building. How much of a hand did you have in that?
So that was an interesting story. When I first joined Living Word, they were on the tail end of their building campaign project. And I was like, oh my God, I am in a church that can use my skills, because in the past I've been in different churches, but they were already in a building and it was already designed. There wasn't really a space for my gift in that way. And how fortunate I came to Living Word, and they are just finishing raising the money to do this thing. And I went to one of the pastors and I was like, I want to join the design team. And he said, okay, when we are ready to do the design, I will call you. So I said, what do you mean when you are ready? He's like, well, when we get down to picking paint colors and so on. I was like, well, design is so much bigger than that. Way before you pick paint colors, there's so many pieces. And he's like, let's meet and talk. So I did. I went in for the volunteer interview, and the opportunity happened that they hadn't quite formed the design team just yet. They had architect drawings and they were raising the money, but there was a design bubble that was kind of vague.
Yeah.
And so I volunteered and they trusted me, and I got right in. I started off as a co-designer, and then I ended up being the lead designer on finishing the space. So we had the architect's drawings, but then marrying that with the functions of the space, picking the colors, picking every single piece of furniture, and that kind of stuff. So it was a huge project. I think it was bigger than both they or I anticipated.
I'm sure.
It definitely went longer than the projected timeline, but I learned so much. It was a great experience. And I got to use all of my skills. Everything I had ever studied about design, I got to use on that project. So it was really exciting for me. And of course, from that project, I joined the staff.
Yes.
Like, you have to have Hazel. So I got snapped up. And that's where I kind of got into creative project management, because not all of it was building design. We do movies, and we used to do film productions. So there are opportunities there for project management. But it's creative project management, which is different from regular project management.
Yeah.
Because you have to have an appreciation for the creative process and the time that takes. But you also have to have a firm handle on the timelines and how much it costs and how are these things going to come together to make a final product.
Yeah.
So that's my sweet spot. That's how I've been able to find where I fit, because I am equally administrative and creative. I love spreadsheets, but I love design. Equally. It's weird. Painting makes me as happy as making a great spreadsheet. So
oh my gosh.
Creative project management is kind of where I've landed, and it's not what I set out to do, but it's what I ended up doing. I left school thinking I'm going to be a landscape architect, and I applied everywhere, and I didn't quite get the job I wanted. And then I had this lull where I was working, but I wasn't liking what I was doing. And this design project came during that time.
Wow.
And when I was offered the job at Living Word, I was like, okay, I can do it. I have the skill set. And then when I got into it, the more I got involved and the more my roles expanded, I realized this is where I need to be. I am doing exactly what I've always wanted to do. This is my dream job, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
I did not set out to find it. It found me. And God put all the pieces in place so that
He did.
I joined at the time when my gifts would be most useful. And since then, other doors have opened up. We have other projects going on. Other opportunities are opening up, and I am using every tool in my toolbox, and it's so exciting.
That is so exciting.
Yeah.
It's just such a perfect example of using your talents and gifts.
Yes.
For the glory of God. It's just wonderful.
Well, and part of that is because you've already identified them. You know what you're good at. You know what you love, and God blessed that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that has been helpful, and I credit my mom and dad with that. when we were young, they were very able to quickly identify what we were good at and get us into things that kind of fed that. And so I didn't spend a lot of time trying to figure out what I wanted to be. I always knew what I wanted to be. Now, it took me a long time to find a sweet spot and have a career with it, but I found it. And so that's been really, really good for me. Just being in how to describe it? You go to school and you want to do well and you want to come out and you want to find this job. And the job that you think you want is not necessarily the job that you should have.
Yeah, it's true.
And I am now in the job that I didn't think I would want or didn't plan for, but it's the job I should have. And now that I'm in it, I can't imagine doing what I thought I wanted to do in the first place. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, whose idea was that? I mean, what I'm doing now fits me so perfectly. I just can't see anything else.
That's so cool.
I love that for you.
So we call that when your parents pay attention to your giftings, we call that train up a child. So I'm sure you're doing that with Benjamin. Benjamin?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am. I'm paying close attention to the things he likes to do and just figuring out how his mind works. The great thing, he's so much like David. It's very interesting. It's like I'm living with the same person at two different ages. And so that's an interesting experience.
That should be a movie.
But it allows me to see, like, based on who David is and who Benjamin is at this age, I can see how certain events in his life and certain people in his life molded him to be who he is now. And so we can take advantage of that because, like, we know some of his gifts and we know what they can be. And so that's pretty exciting for us to just kind of encourage him and nurture him in that way. And because I'm projecting a little bit on him. I love creativity. But he has a creative side too. So I'm teaching him how to paint. He helps me paint, painting.
Sweet.
And he loves building. And so I encourage that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he'll have something just the slightest bit different than David, right? That's going to make him,
his own
little guy.
His own person. Yeah.
Aww.
That is awesome. We love
very
that.
Much like David, but he's definitely going to be his own person.
Yeah.
And I can see little bits of both of us in there. So I'm trying to give him space to be who he wants to be and not mold him to be a specific person.
That is so cool.
And so I don't know why I thought of this story, and I'll make it brief. But when Sarah was 11, well, we argue about the age, 10 or 11-ish in there somewhere. She had played softball since she was 4. I mean, I was an athlete in school. She was going to be an athlete, and she ended up playing 4 sports all through high school. But she was in a play at 10 or 11, and it was Tom Sawyer, and she didn't want to be Becky Thatcher because she thought that role was boring. She wanted to play Aunt Polly, and I was mortified, but that's okay. And I sat there looking at my husband like, oh my gosh, she's not going to be an athlete. She's going to be an actress, and I so didn't want that. It was just so funny. But, that's when we first saw it. And it was like, uh-oh, we got to pay attention. And,
and here we are.
And here we are. It's history.
Here we are.
And here we are.
It's just funny because you may be surprised. You may not. You may come back and go, oh, no, I saw that, and I saw that. But she was so good at sport.
But for them, they did not see it.
No, we just had never tried it.
You didn't see it till I showed you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just only put her in sports for so long, all those years.
Well, that's especially because I excelled at it. Like, you don't want to put your kids in sports if they're not for that
true.
Long and that intense if
that's
they're not
true.
Excelling in it.
Anyway, it was just funny. I mean, I literally think I sat at that play going the whole night. And I kept looking at my husband like, what are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
I was in a panic. So we put her in plays, and she was in a play almost nonstop until she was 18. It was exhausting.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I'm so grateful.
Yeah. Anyway, it's going to be so much fun to watch Benjamin's story and see how this all plays out.
It is. And I'm prepared to be shocked. Like, I have ideas about him, but he's 5. He may grow and morph into somebody completely different. And I want to make sure that I'm giving him the space to do that. Not let our expectations get too much ahead of us here.
No, for sure.
Like me. Yes.
It happens. It's okay.
I know.
Don't beat yourself up about it. I turned out okay.
Yeah, you're great.
I turned out okay. It's okay. Well, let's talk about your talents and your gifts. I mean, what I love about you and I resonate with you so much is that I do love a good spreadsheet. And I'm like, but you're a creative. You're not supposed to do that. And like, but I love that you embrace it. And I want to be more like that. But I love that you embrace that you have very different interests and very different skills. And we always talk about this, but we believe that God has given each of us individually unique groupings of talents and gifts. And I feel like yours is just so unique. And so I just wanted to ask what you feel like your talents and your gifts are.
So besides my creative talents, I am a very strong administrator. I can organize in my sleep. I can think of 10
yes, you
ways
can
to organize something and execute it and get it done.
Firsthand, I know that. I know that it's to be true.
I'm very good at get it done. You give me a team of people, we will get it done. It'll be organized. It'll be good. And I love doing things with excellence. When I was younger, I confused perfectionism and excellence.
Yeah.
And for a long time, those were the same in my head. And as I grew older and wiser, I know, okay, there's a difference. So I still strive for excellence, even though something is not always perfect. Sometimes it raises its head a little bit. But excellence is always my goal. But I can get it done. And so because I have such a wide range of gifts, it's part of why this is the perfect job for me, because I am able to satisfy both my creative side and my administrative side in my job. Sometimes all together, sometimes one more than the other. But I'm not doing one thing forever. And so that revolving door actually works for me. I know that frustrates some people to have a job that kind of changes a lot, but that works for me because it helps feed my two different sides, my kind of dual nature. My purpose, I think, is, and I've been working on defining my purpose for a long time. I always knew I had a purpose within the house of God, like a specific purpose. I believe we all do. Mm-hmm. Finding it and fine-tuning it is where the journey is. I have always loved the house of God. I mean, the physical house. And I think that my contribution to ministry has to do with the physical house. Like David loved the house of God. He thought of his own house and he's like, well, I could do better for God's house. And that's how I feel about it. And that's where I feel like my purpose is, to work on the house and to support the things that the house can do. Yeah. And so that's why working in a ministry is a great fit for me, because I feel like I am doing what I was called to do. I am using the gifts that I was given for that purpose.
Yep.
And when you are given many gifts, the responsibility is greater.
Yeah.
And so I want to be a good steward of my gifts. I want to use them all. I don't want to use some and maybe not use those, because I feel like I have them and I should use them. And so part of being a good steward is exercising those muscles. So I look for ways to use my gifts. I work at Living Word, but I also volunteer my time with churches and organizations that ask for my help in that regard. So there's a church in Trinidad that I can't name here, but I am working. They're about to break ground on a new building, and they've asked if I would come in and consult on the design and the project. And I'm like, yes, that is exactly what I want.
That is awesome.
So sweet.
And I'm trying to get on another project. There's a church that's being constructed near here. So I approached him. I was like, listen, I don't necessarily need to consult in a knowledgeable way. I just want to learn. I just want to be in an environment where I can learn so much more about the things that I am doing and kind of hone my craft. So I'm always looking for those little opportunities to get on projects where I can learn or I can give insight. Either way, it's a process that I enjoy.
Yeah.
That's great.
And you know what this is such a good example of, is we talk about this quite a bit, how God has set good works for us in advance to do, and he equips us with the gifts and the talents to do those good works.
Yes.
And we have to cultivate them and be prepared for those good works that are coming. And I just feel like you are such a good example of someone who has done that, who has really cultivated their gifts and who is ready to do those good works that God has set out ahead of you. And so anyway, that just was was a theme that was running in my head as I was listening.
So, and I get it. You young folks have more energy than I do, and I get that. But one of the things that's kind of striking me, even at my age now, is I think, I know what my talents and my gifts are, and I know my interests are, and where I think I'm I do well, and I have strong giftings, but I don't know that I go out and look for opportunities. I think I wait for them to come to me. So I'm just so impressed that you're going down the street, knocking on the door, saying, "Hey, I can do what you need help." I might just start doing that.
I think you should. I think Hazel just changed your whole life.
Yes.
Volunteering is how I have made a lot of connections.
Yeah.
And gotten to a lot of opportunities that would not have found me otherwise. I always say that volunteering is a risk-free way to hone your skills and to learn new things. See, if you hire me and you pay me, that comes with an expectation. But if I'm volunteering, there is so much opportunity to learn there. Yeah. And it's no risk to you and no risk to me. I'm just learning.
That's awesome.
So that's been great. Just knocking on doors and asking.
Well, I used to volunteer a lot.
Yeah.
And I think once the kids got older, it didn't quite happen quite as much. You're busy driving kids everywhere. Mm-hmm. They all played travel ball, and you and Jesse were in plays.
Always something.
But it might be time for me to jump back into volunteering.
I think so.
I love that. Thank you.
Sounds great. You're welcome. I love it. I love volunteering. I encourage anybody to volunteer. Of course, volunteering at a local church is great. But there's so many areas in the community where you can just make a difference.
Yeah.
You can make a difference. You can make a connection. And, not all volunteer opportunities, sing songs from the heaven to you. But I don't like to waste opportunities as well. Some opportunities I've had. Was it my favorite? No. Did I learn? Yes. And knowledge is never wasted,
Oh, yeah.
The knowledge from here I can take over there and that kind of thing. So, I highly encourage volunteering.
That's awesome.
It brings purpose, but I feel like when you give your time, it's multiplied back to you. I'm doing a lot.
Yes, you are.
Doing a lot.
You are.
But I don't feel overwhelmed. I don't feel stressed. I don't feel like I have no time. I feel like the time I commit to doing these kinds of projects, I get back in other ways. So it's balancing out itself.
That's awesome.
I love that. And for those of you who are listening that want to know some volunteer opportunities, we've got a couple over at projectbrickworks.org.
That's right.
That's true.
If you're interested.
Amen to
all
that.
All virtual volunteering. Okay.
Yes, all virtual.
Moving on, sorry.
No, that's great. Well, so besides these two churches, the two other churches besides yours, what other projects are you working on?
Right now it's Christmas, so I'm working on my house because that's a big undertaking. And just one or two private people doing some redesign in their homes. I'm doing virtual consultations now. That's kind of just something that opened up last year. Yeah. I had people who wanted me to, come look at my house and do stuff. And then COVID hit and we couldn't travel so much. And we figured out how to do it virtually. So that's been kind of fun too. So I'm doing 2-3-ish houses. Just working on that now.
Sweet. That's amazing.
Good for you.
Do you have a website or anything that people can check that out if they want to do that? I was thinking for me, like, I kind of want you to consult on my house. How can I make that happen?
I do have a portfolio. So if you connect with me, I share my portfolio if that's something you're interested in.
Okay. And in a bit, we'll throw that up on the screen, how people can connect with you. Well, what about, I know that I think you are still doing updates to the church. Is that still happening?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. So in 2018/2019, we had a huge upfit of the west and south faces of the building. And of course, when you upgrade one piece, it makes the others look a little older. So now we are going into some of the other spaces. We are working on our children's wing. I'm working with our children's pastor. He has all these great ideas for the space. And so I'm working with him to kind of get that off the ground. And then also we're about to redo our auditorium, which I'm super excited about. Because as far as commercial space design goes, this is my first auditorium.
Okay.
So it's very exciting. The design is finished and we're in the middle of fundraising for it. So that's going to be the next project. But these kind of happen together, the children's wing and the auditorium. Also another big project, lots of moving pieces, but I'm project managing those and I'm really excited about that.
That is so cool.
So fun.
They are so lucky to have you.
They really are.
Oh my gosh. And we are so lucky to have you. in our lives.
Yep, I
I'm
agree.
so impressed with you right
You
now.
probably take the job of 3 or 4 people
I
at
know,
the church.
for real.
That's awesome.
That is so
Well,
cool.
I
Well,
have a very hardworking job title, but I love it. It doesn't feel like work to me. So I am working a lot, but I love it so much. It's not stressful. I'm super grateful for the opportunity to work at Living Word. They allow me the freedom to do the things that I love. And
yeah,
that does not come by easily. I've worked a couple places before. You don't get that kind of freedom everywhere.
yeah.
So they feel they're lucky to have me, and I feel I'm lucky to work there because they've been able to give me the opportunity to just do what I love.
That's amazing.
What a blessing.
I'm also very grateful for Living Word too. So yeah, all of the gratefulness. Well, I wanted to ask you whether you're designing for churches or you're doing these, consultations via Zoom for housing. What is your favorite part? Do you have a favorite part? Is it picking up the furniture? Is it the color texture combo? What do you, I know you love it all, but do you have a favorite?
Yeah, it will be doing the soft finishing. So like picking the wall pieces and picking the furniture and the fabric. So when I go shopping, I pick what speaks to me. If I don't love it at first sight, it's not going home with me. And so shopping is very exciting. I very rarely am able to go out and find everything in one trip. It takes me several trips because I have to love it if I'm going to take it home.
Yeah.
But that is my favorite store. I can shop online, but I love going in store. So I can touch the fabrics and sit on the chairs and see how it's going to kind of unfold. And I can see it in my mind. I did this creativity test on Facebook, which I thought everybody could do, but I can see in my mind, I can see, smell, feel in my imagination. So when I see a space, I'm in a space. I'm walking in it.
Wow.
I can see the layout. I can see the colors. I can feel the textures. So when I'm walking in a store, I'm trying to find something that fits with what's already in my mind. And so it's very exciting. I love this.
That is so exciting. I want to be in your mind.
That's a very special gift. Well, so I don't know if you're thinking what I'm thinking, but we had a guest on. Her episode actually airs today in real time, in the real world. And she designs spaces for women who have either been somehow marginalized, whether they were
in abusive homes,
right,
or they're in rehab and they're
trafficked.
Yeah.
And she works with some of the organizations in her city to connect with the right ladies. And then she listens to their stories, and then she designs spaces for them. She calls it
trauma-informed design. And so it's very calming. It's so that it's for restoration and for healing.
And it's very peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, y'all need to meet.
Yeah.
I would love for information. That's very interesting. Actually did a segment at school on healing landscapes. So she's probably doing interiors, but there's a landscape version of that where you design therapeutic landscapes for like hospitals and therapy centers and things like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
oh my gosh, the amount
it's
of
an
things,
amazing field to work in.
the amount of things I don't know. It's jarring. I was like, that's amazing to me that's a thing.
Yeah.
But yes, we definitely need to connect you too. And we love connecting people. So that's cool.
Well, and I love meeting other people in the field. So
yes, you do.
Exciting.
Well, along the same lines, what is like I don't know, what's your process? I don't want to, it sounds like I'm asking you about being an actor. I always ask actors, what's your process? But how do you go from meeting someone virtually, seeing their space virtually? I mean, that seems like that would be a big challenge, but what's your process like when you're designing a space?
So I have to know who I'm designing for. I think design, there's design training everywhere. And so the bones are the same. The mediums are just different.
Okay.
And I feel what makes the difference is who occupies the space. If I understand who I'm designing for, I can then design for you without much of your input, without you having to say, I like this, I don't like that. So part of it is spending time with the people who use the space. So I have people show me their space and tell me how they use it currently. Tell me what you love. Tell me what you don't love. Tell me what you wish you had. And then, show me like one thing that inspires you. And then I can go from there and I can pick textures around that. I can do floor plans and things around how I feel you use the space and how it could maybe be better. And so I start with knowing the person. Then I start with knowing your existing space. Having lived in an apartment for a long time, I dreamt of the spaces in my house long before I owned one.
Oh, wow.
And so when we were house shopping, I knew exactly what I needed based on where I had been living. And so that's kind of my process when I'm working with people. So you tell me about you tell me about your existing space. I go and fetch all the ideas based on the information I have, and then I show you. And I love to give people options because what I don't like to do is make a presentation about how you're going to use the space and outfit it. And then you don't like this, and I have nothing else in my back pocket to show you. I always have something in my back pocket.
Yeah.
I like to give 2 or 3 options so that on the spot, you can begin to see all of the pieces of your new space coming together. So that's just kind of like my process. And then, once I know what you want, I can find it. I'm very good at, and one of the things my clients like is that I work within a budget. But even if you give me a budget, I try to beat myself. I try to beat my own highest score. You tell me your budget is 10. If I can do it for 8, I will push and I'll do it for 8. And so that's the next piece of, and that's also part of my gifting, is to take $1 and make it look like $5 worth of stuff. Something that it's great in the church community because we are working with people's tithes and hard-earned money, and we want to be very good stewards of it.
Right.
So we spend a lot of time, the financial director and I spend a lot of time finding the deals and making it work. And so that's also part of my process, is after we've found what we want, we know what we want it to look like, then we go to work and try to see how we can do all of that for a little less. And so that's been great too.
Oh my gosh, I want to be you so badly.
Well, it's funny. Obviously, God has given different people different talents.
I know.
You get to know someone, and you can decide for them pretty much then what they're going to like, and the textures and the colors and all of those things. I couldn't decide that for myself,
even if you tried.
Even if I tried,
if your life depended on it.
I mean, I'd have to walk into a store and go, I don't even know where to start. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. I'd have to call you. So,
and I would just like, Hazel, tell me what I need.
Yes,
tell me what I want.
I would agree with that. Yeah,
that's the problem. Is I'd be like, you'd be like, tell me about yourself. I'm like, I have brown hair. Does that help? I'm just kidding.
Well, it's just crazy, right? That's just not my gifting.
Yeah,
I have to bring it into the house and put it in the house and try it. And if it doesn't work, then I'm gonna start all over again. I can't. I have no imagination for that.
It's very cool to hear how your imagination works.
It is very inspiring.
Very inspiring.
Very active in my mind there.
I love it.
Where can folks find you on social media? Are you on Instagram or Facebook?
I am on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. So I have quite a healthy Pinterest following. I have about 500 and something followers.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yes. I collect on Pinterest. I have a home design section. I have a commercial design section. I also have a love for fashion. My sister is a fashionista. So I do have, that's another part of my creative side, is the fashion piece. So I have all these pieces on Pinterest, and I have a lot of followers who looking for all the ideas in these different areas. So
wow,
that is so cool. Oh my gosh. And we'll obviously put all of that information on the screen so people can follow you. That's amazing. Hazel, I learned so much about you today.
I know, me too.
Yeah. I wish we had this I don't know. I mean, I'm glad we had this conversation for the podcast, but I learned so much.
Yeah, you've always said that you're very creative and that you like spreadsheets and that you're this unique combination. But we did a deep dive, and I love that.
Yes, I love it. And now I know why I love you so much. I'm also, you're just very lovable, but anyway, I love you so much, and I'm so grateful that you are, first of all, that you are a guest, but then also you're on our board. Like, I don't think you'll ever know how much that means to us that you take the time to invest your creativity and your spreadsheeting into us and what we're doing. And so we're very grateful for that as well.
And I'm pretty sure I've told you this before, but when we were talking about putting the board together, she didn't know 2 of the ladies that I had selected. So I said, okay, that's fair. I said, who's the most creative, intelligent, smart woman that you know? Because we were looking for women. She picked you.
It was immediate. I was like, Hazel. She's like, I don't know if that's a conflict of interest, but we should ask her.
So yes, we are very grateful you said yes.
And I said yes. I'm like, I don't know if it's a conflict of interest, but I want to do this.
We both had the same thought. I don't know. We're gonna try it. I love that.
But I loved it, and part of I love Sarah.
Yes.
Although we've not met personally. We've
I know.
Talked on Zoom, talked on Voxer.
Yeah.
You two have never met? Wait,
No.
you were just back there.
I know, but
we missed each other.
we
when
missed
she
each
was in
other.
Raleigh that
I was
week,
supposed to stay at her house, but then it didn't work out because Nick and I got a hotel because Nick joined me unexpectedly.
Right. Okay.
But yes, I know.
But yeah,
We've never met.
Clicked
It's a
online,
crime. Yes.
And I was like, oh, I would love to work with Sarah. And after talking to you, Diane, for 5 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, I want to have that. I love her. But I have a strong belief in what you're doing. I feel like being a creative person and taking me so long to find a spot in the ministry where I can use all of my gifts, I feel like it's important for all the creatives to know each other and build those connections.
Yeah.
So that you could find, your local church may not have a spot for you, but if you are connected with someone else who knows of a spot that might be good for you.
Yep.
Feel like those connections are invaluable, and just you guys are helping people make those. And so I think that's very, very important.
Well, thank you.
Well, thanks. We really could not be doing what we are doing specifically without, we say that without you in general, but you specifically, you are a huge part of that. So,
well, and it is funny. We did an episode on Thanksgiving, on things that we are thankful for. Mm-hmm. And one of them was just that we get to meet amazing people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just so
and we
lucky.
had nothing to do with it.
Yes,
it's all God.
God just keeps bringing one more, one after another. So we are blessed.
For sure.
And definitely blessed by you.
For sure.
It's been wonderful working with you guys.
Well, we love you and we are grateful, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes.
Thank you. This has been so much fun.
We'll see you later.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
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 For more information on Project Brickworks, visit us online at projectbrickworks.org. Subscribe to our newsletter or text BRICK to 55498 to get the latest news and updates. We love y'all. Be blessed, and we'll see you next time. Bye.